Under a clear noon sky, Metropolis was doing what it always did, trying to feel normal. Superman heard the problem before he saw it. It was not a siren, not a scream. It was a wrong sound. A low, bending hum, like air itself was being pulled tight. He looked up. The blue sky split. It did not crack like glass. It peeled, slow and clean, like someone was opening a seam in reality. A long oval of darkness appeared, rimmed with white light. The clouds around it curled away as if the air was afraid. People on the street stopped walking, heads tilted up. Phones came out. A few kids pointed and laughed because they thought it was a stunt. Superman's smile was gentle as he rose into the air. "Everyone, please move away from the center streets," he called, voice carried by the wind. "Stay calm. Follow the police." He flew straight toward the tear. Something drifted out. At first, it was just a small shape. Then he saw it clearly. A sleek, rounded craft, dark and smooth. And beside it floated a figure. Small, white body. Purple armor-like plates on his head, chest, and shoulders. A long tail curling behind him. The figure floated like it belonged there, like the sky was his throne. Superman stopped at a careful distance. He held his hands open. No threat. "Hello," Superman said. "My name is Superman. You're in Metropolis, on Earth. If you're lost, we can help you." The alien looked down at the city like it was a model on a table. Then he looked at Superman. His eyes were calm, almost bored. His mouth curled into a light smile that did not feel friendly. "Help?" the alien repeated, like he was tasting the word. "How kind." Superman kept his tone steady. "Are you hurt? Do you need your ship repaired?" The alien's smile grew by a millimeter. "I do not need repairs. I need answers." He lifted one finger, not pointing at Superman, pointing past him, toward a distant object in the sky. A news drone, small and buzzing, circling for a better shot. The alien flicked his finger. A thin line of light snapped out. The drone vanished. Not exploded. Not falling. Just gone. A clean, silent erasing. Below, people screamed. Some ran, some froze. Superman's eyes narrowed. "Hey, no one here is your target. You don't hurt people." The alien tilted his head. "That was not a person." "That was a warning," Superman said. The alien shrugged. "If I wanted to hurt your people, they would already be hurt." Superman did not like how true that sounded. He moved in fast, one hand reaching, aiming to restrain without breaking anything. He had held meteors. He had held monsters. He could hold this. The alien slipped sideways like smoke. Superman's hand closed on empty air. The alien appeared behind him, so close Superman could feel the cold confidence in him. A palm touched Superman's back. Not a punch, not even a shove, just a casual push. Superman shot forward, flying hard through open air, forced to catch himself. Before he smashed into a glass tower, he stopped inches away, shock rippling through his chest. He turned back, floating in front of the alien again. Now the alien looked interested. "Oh," the alien said softly. "You're not made of paper." A red blur streaked up beside Superman. The flash hovered in place for a half-second, then zipped away, then came back, unable to stop moving even when he wanted to. His eyes were wide. "Okay," Flash said, talking too fast. "That's not a normal alien. That's like... Why is the sky doing this, alien?" The alien glanced at Flash and then looked away, unimpressed. "You have many costumed insects." Flash bristled. "Insects? Buddy, I run it." Superman lifted a hand. "Barry, focus on evacuations." Flash nodded and vanished, a red streak dropping toward the streets. Superman faced the alien again. "Last chance. Tell me who you are." The alien's smile returned, neat and sharp. "Who I am does not matter yet." He drifted higher, arms behind his back like a king on a balcony. The tear in the sky slowly sealed behind his ship, leaving only blue. "I'm here," the alien said, voice calm, "because I felt a universe with strong fighters." His eyes locked onto Superman, and I am very bored. Superman's jaw tightened. "Then you picked the wrong planet." The alien laughed once. It was quiet, but it carried. "Bring me your strongest," he said. "Bring me the ones who think they protect this world." He leaned forward just a little. "Or I will come to them." Then he rose straight up, floating above Metropolis like a threat hanging in the air. Superman watched him go, and for the first time in a long time, he felt a simple, heavy thought settle in his chest. This was not a rescue. This was an invasion. Batman watched the footage in silence. The Justice League space station, the Watchtower, hung above Earth like a quiet guardian. Inside, everything was clean metal and soft lights. Screens covered the central room. Data flowed like rain. Batman stood in the middle of it, cape still, arms crossed. On the biggest screen, Metropolis played again, the sky tearing open, the alien floating down, Superman moving in, the casual push that sent Superman flying. Batman rewound, paused, zoomed. He measured the time between Superman's reach and the alien's movement. Too fast. He switched to another angle. He measured the beam that erased the drone. Clean energy. No heat bloom. No messy explosion. Precision. He didn't like precision. Superman landed behind him. His boots hit the floor with a controlled thud. He looked calm, but his shoulders were tense. "He didn't kill anyone," Superman said. "He didn't need to," Batman replied. His voice was flat. "That was a demonstration." Wonder Woman walked in next. Her eyes were hard, not afraid. "He smells like war." The Flash popped into a chair like he fell into it. "Metropolis is fine," he said. "Mostly. People are shaken. Also, I'm pretty sure I aged 5 years from stress in 10 minutes. Green Lantern arrived with a pulse of green light. Hal Jordan's ring glowed like it was upset. Jon Stewart stepped in beside him, serious as stone. Martian Manhunter followed quietly, his red eyes thoughtful. Cyborg's voice came through the comms from another room. "I'm pulling every scan we have from satellite and watchtower sensors. Whatever that tear was, it wasn't boom tube tech. It wasn't lantern travel. It was different." Batman didn't turn. "Name?" Superman shook his head. "He didn't give one." "He will," Batman said. "Eventually." Hal held up his ring. "The Guardians are asking questions. So are a lot of people in space. Something that rips through realities leaves a mark." John added, "And if he's a conqueror, the Corps will want to say, interstellar law isn't optional." Flash raised a hand. "Quick question. When the universe sends us a tiny purple guy who moves like a nightmare, can we please skip the polite welcome and go straight to the protect the planet part?" Superman looked at him. "Protecting the planet includes not starting a war we can't control." Batman finally turned. His eyes were narrow white slits in his cowl. "We're already in it. He came here to test us. That's war." Wonder Woman stepped closer to the screen. "He speaks like a tyrant. He expects the world to kneel." Superman's voice stayed gentle, but firm. "Then we don't kneel. We show him who we are." Batman pointed at the paused frame, at the alien's face, calm and pleased. "He likes fear. Don't feed him. We keep civilians out. We pick the battlefield." Flash's jaw tightened. "You mean we pick the place where he can throw me into orbit?" Batman ignored the joke. "We need information, strength, speed, endurance, weaknesses, limits." Martian Manhunter spoke at last. His voice was quiet, like wind through a hallway. I tried to touch his mind from a distance. Everyone looked at him. John's eyes dimmed slightly. It was cold. Not empty. Not confused. Cold with purpose. He thinks in ranks, in ownership. He sees lives as numbers. Wonder Woman's fist clenched. A slaver. Superman's face tightened with anger, but he kept his voice steady. Did you learn anything else? John shook his head. He noticed me, not with words, with attention. I pulled away before he pushed back. Hal let out a low whistle. So he's fast, strong, precise, and aware. Great. Batman's gauntlet tapped a control on the table. A new file opened on a screen. A simple title appeared. Contingency. Unknown extraterrestrial. Purple. Flash leaned in. Is that the official name? Purple? Because I vote we call him Mr. Bad Vibes. Batman didn't blink. It's a placeholder. Superman stared at the file. Bruce. Batman met his eyes. You want to save people. I want to make sure you can. Superman looked away, jaw tight, then nodded once. Fine, but no one attacks first. We try to talk. Batman's voice was calm and cold. Talking is fine, as long as we're ready when talking fails. Cyborg's voice chimed in again. Incoming. Something is moving above Metropolis. Same signature as before. The alien is back. Superman was already moving. Then we meet him on our terms. Lex Luthor watched the live feed from his penthouse office. The wall of windows showed Metropolis below, bright and busy. But Lex didn't look at the city. He looked at the screen. The alien hovered above the skyline again, like he owned the sky. Lex's lips curved into a small smile. Extra-dimensional travel, he murmured. Unknown energy. A being who can push Superman like he's nothing. Mercy Graves stood beside him, arms folded. Do you want me to prepare security? Lex waved a hand. Security can't stop that. Don't insult me. He leaned closer to the screen, eyes sharp. This is not a problem. This is a resource. Mercy didn't react. Superman will try to stop him. Of course, Lex said. And if Superman fails, people will look for another plan. He turned away from the screen and opened a secure channel on his private console. He began sending messages, not to the League, to people who did not mind getting their hands dirty. Find out what he wants, Lex said softly, and find out what he fears. Mercy's voice was flat. He doesn't look like he fears anything. Lex smiled wider. Everyone fears something, even gods, especially gods. Amanda Waller didn't watch with wonder. She watched with math. In a dark room under a government building, screens showed Metropolis from 10 angles. ARGUS staff moved fast. Phones rang. Orders flew. Waller stood in the center, hands behind her back, face like stone. This isn't an alien visitor, she said. This is a hostile asset. An agent cleared his throat. The Justice League is responding. Waller's eyes stayed on the screen. They always respond. That doesn't mean they always win. Another screen showed Superman rising toward the alien again. Waller pointed. Get me every piece of data, radiation, energy type, anything. And I want options, not hopes. Yes, ma'am. Waller's mouth tightened. And if anyone tells you we can't do anything because Superman will handle it, you tell them this. She leaned forward, voice low. Superman isn't a plan. He's a person. People can lose. Above Metropolis, Superman stopped at a careful distance again. The alien hovered with his hands clasped behind his back. His tail swayed slowly, like a cat waiting. Superman spoke first. If you want to talk, we can talk somewhere safer, away from people. The alien looked down at the tiny humans running like dots. They are loud. They're scared, Superman said. Because you scared them. The alien's mouth curved. Good. Superman's eyes hardened. We're not doing this here. The alien tilted his head. Then where? In your palace? Superman didn't answer that. He touched a small device at his ear. Watchtower, can you open a corridor? Green light flared nearby. A circular doorway of green energy formed in the air. Lantern tech, stable and bright. Jon Stewart's voice came through, steady. "We can take you to an empty zone in orbit. No civilians, no cities, just space." The alien stared at the green doorway. For the first time, his interest rose. "You can open doors," he said. "Useful." Superman nodded once. "Come with us. No tricks, no attacks. We keep it controlled." The alien drifted closer to the doorway, eyes amused. "Controlled," he repeated, like it was a joke. He looked at Superman with a small, sharp smile. "Very well. Entertain me." And he floated through. Superman followed, jaw tight, heart heavy, because the alien had agreed too easily. Space was silent. The watchtower hung nearby, a silver shape against black sky. Earth curved below, blue and bright. A platform of green light formed in open space, held by lantern constructs. Hal and Jon hovered at its edges, rings glowing. Wonder Woman stood on the platform, as if gravity was normal. Martian Manhunter floated nearby. Flash vibrated lightly in place, nervous energy spilling from him. Superman faced the alien across the platform. Batman wasn't there in person. He watched from the watchtower, eyes on every feed. "Okay," Flash muttered under his breath. "Space meeting. Cool. Normal day." The alien looked around like he was touring a cheap apartment. He tapped the green floor with one toe. "So fragile," he said. "And yet, you call it control." Hal's jaw clenched. "It's strong enough." The alien looked at him. "Strong enough for what?" Superman stepped forward. "You came here looking for fighters. You found them. But if you're planning to hurt anyone, you're going to have a problem." The alien's eyes narrowed slightly. "A problem," he repeated. "Yes, that's what I came for." Wonder Woman lifted her sword a few inches, not threatening. "Ready?" "Tell us your purpose," she said. "Now." The alien smiled at her, and for a moment there was respect in it. "You speak like a warrior." He turned back to Superman. "Purpose? I felt this world. I felt power here. So I came." Flash blinked. "You felt it? Like a smell?" The alien ignored him. Superman tried again. "If you need help, we can help. If you need a way home, we can." The alien laughed. "Home? I do not run home." He spread his arms slightly, as if presenting himself. "I rule," he said. "And when I don't rule, I fight." Batman's voice cut into their comms. Calm. "Keep him talking. Cyborg is scanning." Cyborg's voice followed fast. "Energy readings are off the chart. It's like he has a reactor inside his body." The alien's eyes flicked toward the watchtower, as if he heard the scan. Batman narrowed his eyes. "He can sense it." Superman kept his face calm. "You're being scanned because we don't know you." The alien's smile returned. "You don't know me," he said softly. "And you already spy. How predictable." He leaned forward a little. "Tell me, do you have rules? Forms? Permission slips?" Flash let out a short, nervous laugh. "We do have paperwork. It's mostly Batman's fault." Batman's voice came through. Dry. "Ignore him." The alien's eyes narrowed again. "Paperwork," he said with disgust, like it was poison. "You bind your strength with paper." Wonder Woman's voice stayed hard. "We bind it with honor." The alien stared at her. Then his gaze returned to Superman. "I will ask you one question," the alien said. "Who is the strongest here?" Superman did not answer. Hal answered anyway, confident. "You don't get to pick targets like this." The alien sighed, like Hal was wasting his time. Then the alien moved. It was not a blur. It was simply there. He was inches from Hal. A finger tapped the lantern ring. Not hard, just a touch. Hal's construct flickered for half a second. Hal's eyes widened in shock. and then the alien was back where he started, hovering, hands behind his back again. "Interesting," the alien said. "So your will makes your weapons." John's voice was sharp. "That's enough." The alien smiled. "No." Superman's body tensed. "Stop." The alien looked at him. "Make me." And the platform exploded into motion. Flash moved first, not to hit, to protect. He dashed to the platform edges, grabbing small tools and loose parts that could become deadly if the alien blew the construct apart. He tossed them into a secure box on the watchtower side of the field, then shot back. Superman lunged at the alien, aiming to lock his arms and take him away from the others. The alien slipped again. Too smooth, too clean. Superman adjusted mid-flight, swinging his momentum around. He caught the alien's tail with one hand. The tail was stronger than it looked. The alien's eyes flashed with annoyance. He twisted, and Superman felt a sharp force slam into his chest, like a focused wave. Superman shot backward through open space, stopping himself with a burst of flight. Wonder Woman closed the distance, sword coming in with perfect timing, shield angled to protect her face. The alien raised one hand. A small purple glow formed in his palm. Wonder Woman's shield met the blast. The energy pushed her back, boots skidding on green light, but she held. Her eyes stayed locked on him. No fear. Martian Manhunter reached with his mind, trying to press calm into chaos, trying to slow the alien's intent. The alien's mind felt like a locked vault made of ice. John flinched, not hurt. Warned. The alien looked right at him. "Stay out of my head," the alien said, voice quiet. John's face stayed calm, but inside he felt something he didn't like. The alien was not just strong, he was used to being the predator. Hal and John flared their rings together, weaving a layered cage of green light around the alien. The cage tightened. The alien glanced at it like he was looking at a toy. He lifted one finger. A thin beam shot out, precise, fast. It cut one layer cleanly. The cage held, but it weakened. John gritted his teeth. "He's slicing the construct patterns." Hal's voice was tense. "That's not normal." Superman slammed into the cage from outside, adding force, trying to pin the alien in place. For a moment, just a moment, the alien was contained. Flash darted in and out, pulling the weakened edges of the construct into stronger angles, helping the lanterns without even meaning to. Then the alien inhaled. His body shimmered. A pressure rolled outward. The green cage cracked. It didn't shatter like glass. It peeled apart in sections, forced open by raw power. Superman felt the push hit him like a wave. He dug in and held position. Wonder Woman raised her shield again. Flash was flung backward in midair, saved only because he could correct himself fast. The alien drifted free, smiling. "Better," he said. "Now, we are not wasting time." Superman's eyes narrowed. "You're not going to hurt Earth." The alien's eyes hardened, sharp and bright. "You keep speaking as if you decide." He thrust his hand forward. A ball of purple energy formed, dense, bright, humming. Superman shot forward to block it. The blast hit him like a mountain. He was driven back, flying hard, heat vision flaring without him even choosing it, trying to break the energy apart. He managed to push it away from the platform and toward empty space. It exploded far off, a silent flash against the stars. Flash's voice trembled. "That would have been bad." Batman's voice snapped in. "Get him away from the watchtower. If he hits the station, we lose our eyes." Superman heard it and nodded once, even as he moved. He changed the battlefield. He flew straight at the alien again, not to restrain, but to drive. The alien met him head-on. Their clash sent a ripple through the lantern platform. The construct groaned. They traded blows in short bursts. Superman's punches controlled but heavy. The alien's strikes sharp and cruel. Wonder Woman joined from the side, blade and shield working together, trying to force openings. The alien's tail snapped out like a whip. Wonder Woman blocked with her shield. The force rang through her arm. She smiled. Fierce. "Good," she whispered. "You can fight." Hal and John pulled their constructs back and formed a bigger arena instead. A wide green sphere around all of them, trying to contain the violence. Flash zipped through grabbing the broken fragments of the platform and tossing them into safe orbit. John hovered above, watching patterns, waiting for a moment when his telepathy could matter without getting everyone killed. The alien moved again, faster, and Superman felt it. A shift, like the alien had been holding something back and just decided he was tired of pretending. The alien's aura grew, not flames, not smoke, just pressure, like the space around him had weight. Superman swallowed a hard breath. Wonder Woman's grip tightened. Hal's ring flared brighter on its own. John muttered, "He's powering up." The alien smiled at Superman. "Now," he said, "show me what you truly are." The next exchange happened too fast for most eyes. Superman darted in, aiming for the alien's center mass. The alien sidestepped and struck Superman's side with a knee. Superman's body bent, forced, then he corrected and punched back. The alien caught the punch with one hand. For half a second, time seemed to slow. The alien stared at Superman's clenched fist like it was a puzzle. Then he squeezed. Superman felt pain, not because his bones broke, but because the pressure was that intense. He pulled free, shaking his hand out, surprised. The alien's smile widened. "Yes," he said softly. "This is something." Wonder Woman attacked again, her sword flashing in clean arcs, each strike meant to end a battle, not to look pretty. The alien leaned and spun, dodging with inches to spare. He slapped the flat of her blade aside with the back of his hand. Wonder Woman's eyes flashed in anger, and she drove forward with her shield. The alien caught the shield with both hands and stopped it. Wonder Woman pushed harder, muscles and divine strength surging. The alien did not move. Then he shoved. Wonder Woman flew backward through the lantern arena, boots scraping against green light, stopping only when Hal reinforced the wall behind her. Flash tried something brave and stupid at the same time. He ran a tight circle around the alien, building speed, building a small cyclone of motion. He reached out, aiming to snag the alien's arms and pull him off balance. The alien turned his head. His eyes tracked Flash. Flash's stomach dropped. "He's seeing me," Flash thought. "He's actually seeing me." The alien flicked a finger. A tiny shockwave snapped outward. Flash was thrown out of his own circle, tumbling, saved only because he could run on the inside of the lantern construct and stabilize. He landed near Superman, breathing hard. "Okay," he panted. "Noted. He's rude." Batman's voice cut in again. "He's adapting. Don't give him patterns." Hal and John shifted tactics together. They formed layered fields, moving, changing, trying to keep the alien busy. They created a maze of green walls and shifting gates. The alien smiled like he enjoyed it. He shot through the maze, not breaking it all, just slipping, finding the weak points with perfect instinct. Superman realized something with a chill. This wasn't just strength, this was experience. The alien had fought strong beings before, many times, and he had won. Superman rushed in again, but this time he didn't strike first. He grabbed the alien from behind and pushed hard, driving both of them toward open space, away from the watchtower, away from Earth. The alien laughed right in his face. "Yes," the alien said. "Take me somewhere empty. You're learning." They broke out of the lantern sphere into open space. Earth was a bright curve behind them. The alien twisted in Superman's grip, tail wrapping around Superman's arm like a rope. Then the alien fired a point-blank blast. Superman took it, gritting his teeth, and kept pushing. Wonder Woman and the lanterns chased, forming new constructs in their wake to keep debris and stray energy away from the planet. Flash followed like a red spark, ready to catch anyone who fell. John stayed near the watchtower for a moment, guarding it with his mind, then joined the chase. And then something else arrived. Not from Earth, from deeper space. A small craft appeared without a portal, without a ring signature. It was dark and smooth, with a cold symbol on its surface. Batman's voice came through sharp. "New contact? Not ours." Cyborg's voice was tense. "I'm getting a scan. That thing is artificial. Highly advanced." The dark craft didn't attack the League. It fired a beam at the alien. The beam was not purple, not green. It was pale and thin, like a measuring tool. It struck the alien's body. The alien froze for a fraction of a second, muscles locking. A net of light formed around him, tightening. It was trying to trap him. The alien's eyes widened, not in fear, in insult. "How dare you?" the alien whispered. The dark craft's voice spoke through space in a cold, digital tone. It carried through comms like it hacked them. Specimen identified. High value. Cataloging initiated. A symbol flashed on Batman's screen. A name tag followed, auto-translated by Watchtower systems, struggling to keep up. Frieza Superman heard it. Wonder Woman heard it. The Lantern Rings heard it, and echoed it with their own warning pings. Hal's eyes widened. "My ring just—" John's voice went low. It labeled him. Batman's hands tightened into fists. "We have a name." Frieza's lips curled into a furious smile. "You want to collect me?" he said, voice quiet and deadly. "You want to put me on a shelf?" The trap net tightened. Frieza's body trembled, power building inside him like a star trying to break its cage. Superman saw the danger and made a choice fast. He shot forward, slamming into the dark craft, trying to push it off, trying to stop it from firing again. Wonder Woman followed, sword raised, cutting at the net's anchors. Hal and John wrapped the craft in green restraints. Flash zipped along its surface, ripping off small devices and tossing them away. John reached out with his mind, feeling a cold machine intelligence inside the craft, not emotional, not human. It did not care about Earth. It cared about collecting. The craft fired again, even while restrained. A second beam hit Frieza. For a moment, it looked like it worked. Then Frieza laughed. It was not funny laughter. It was the laugh of someone deciding to make an example. His body flared with light, not fire, not smoke. A bright, clean glow that turned his white skin into shining gold at the edges, like a new form trying to break through. Superman's eyes widened. "Diana, I see it!" Wonder Woman said, voice tight. Frieza flexed. The net shattered. The shockwave blasted outward, ripping lantern constructs apart, throwing Superman and Wonder Woman back, forcing Flash to grab onto nothing and run along sheer momentum to keep from tumbling. The dark craft cracked down the middle. Frieza drifted forward, calm again, gold fading back like it was just a warning. He reached out, placed one hand on the craft's surface, and fired a small beam. The craft split into pieces. Not a big explosion, just clean destruction. The pieces drifted away, dead. Batman's voice was hard. "That was a probe." Cyborg sounded shaken. Whatever sent it was watching. Superman hovered near Frieza again, chest rising and falling. "You're not the only threat in this universe." Frieza looked at him as if Superman had just said something obvious. "I know," Frieza said. "And that makes this place far more interesting." Hal's ring chimed again, dumping partial info from somewhere deep in core records, fragmented, not complete, like it wasn't supposed to exist in this universe at all. Hal's face went pale. It just flagged him as an interuniversal conqueror, multiple worlds, mass casualties. Superman's stomach tightened. Wonder Woman's voice was cold. A tyrant across realities. Frieza heard every word and smiled. I see you can read, he said. Good. Superman squared his shoulders. If you think you're taking Earth, Frieza raised one finger, not firing, just stopping him. You misunderstand, Frieza said. I don't think. I decide. He glanced toward Earth, far below, blue and fragile from here. Then he looked back at the League. You have spirit, he said, almost approving. And you have power. Some of you anyway. Flash swallowed. Some of us? Rude. Frieza's eyes flicked to Flash. You're fast, he admitted. Like a useful tool? Flash's face tightened. I'm not a tool. Frieza looked away. Then be something else. Impress me. Superman moved forward, fists clenched. This ends now. Frieza's smile sharpened. No, this begins now. He floated backward, relaxed, tail swaying. You wanted me away from your planet, Frieza said. You got your wish. He lifted a hand and pointed, not at Earth, but at the open, dark beyond it. I will explore, he said. I will learn your universe. I will find your gods. His eyes locked onto Superman one last time. And when I return, bring me your strongest again. A pause. And tell your little bat in the sky, Frieza added, as if speaking to Batman through the cameras, that his paperwork is meaningless. Batman's jaw tightened. He's talking to me. Frieza gave a small wave, mocking, polite. Then he shot into deep space like a bullet, leaving a thin line of disturbed starlight behind him. Superman hovered there, breathing hard, watching the darkness swallow him. Wonder Woman drifted closer. He left, she said. For now, Superman replied. Hal looked at his ring again, shaken by the warning it had shown him. And something else just took an interest in us because of him. Flash stared into the black. So today we met an alien king, got his name from a murder robot, and almost got turned into space dust. He swallowed. Can we go home now? Superman looked down at Earth. His face softened for a second. Then his eyes hardened again. We go home, he said. We warn everyone. And inside the watchtower, Batman opened a new file and typed one word into the title. Frieza Metropolis did not look broken from far away. From street level, it did. Glass was cracked in long spider lines across towers where shockwaves had kissed them. A few bridges had been closed while workers checked the supports. Police lines and flashing lights made bright stripes through the streets. People moved in tight groups, talking too loudly, laughing too nervously, trying to convince themselves they were fine. Lois Lane stood behind a camera crew on a rooftop, her hair pulled back, her eyes on the skyline. The sky was clean now, blue and quiet. That was the worst part. If the sky had stayed torn, people could point at it. They could say, "There's the danger." But danger had left. Danger had learned. Danger had a name. She listened to the anchor's voice through a headset. Confirmed by multiple sources, the Justice League engaged an extraterrestrial threat in orbit. The being's name, translated through unknown systems, appears to be Frieza. Officials have not provided details about the origin of the threat. Lois glanced down at the street below. A boy held a cardboard sign that said, "Superman saved us." The boy's father stood beside him with a different sign. Where was the government? She saw a third sign, too, carried by a man who looked angry enough to bite glass. "We need a plan B." Lois didn't like that sign. She looked to her left. Superman hovered near a damaged high-rise, holding a steel beam steady while workers bolted it into place. He didn't need help. He chose to be seen helping anyway. He wanted people to feel safe. Lois admired that about him. She also knew it could be used against him. A helicopter flew past with a giant camera mounted on the side. The lens turned toward Superman like a hungry eye. Lois's phone buzzed with a message from Perry. "Get me a quote." What does Superman say about Frieza? People want answers. Lois watched Superman's face as he talked to a construction foreman. His smile was warm, but it was thinner than usual. He was tired. Not from lifting steel, from holding fear. She typed back, "Working on it. But don't turn this into a blame game." The League kept it off-world. Perry sent a single reply. "That won't stop the politicians." Lois pocketed her phone and took a breath. Then she walked toward the edge of the roof and called out, loud enough to carry. "Clark, one question." Superman looked up. His eyes met hers for a heartbeat. Relief flickered there, then duty swallowed it. He rose to the roof with a soft gust, landing gently. Lois didn't waste time. People are scared. They heard the name. They saw the sky tear open. They want to know if it can happen again. Superman looked past her, down at the city, like he wanted to wrap it in his cape. "It can," he said. Lois nodded once, letting the honesty land. "And what are you doing about it?" Superman's jaw tightened. "Everything we can. We're gathering information. We're working with everyone we need to work with." Lois heard the careful words. She heard the thing he didn't say. He didn't say, "We can stop him." She leaned in slightly, voice softer. "And if Frieza comes back?" Superman looked at her now, fully. His eyes were steady. "Then we meet him ready," he said. "And we keep people alive. That's the job." Lois watched him for a second. He didn't look like a god. He looked like a man trying very hard to be what the world needed. She nodded and stepped back, giving him space. Superman lifted off again, returning to the street. The crowd saw him and cheered. Some people cried. Some people recorded. Some people stared, silent, like cheering was no longer enough. Lois turned to her crew. "We've got our quote," she said. But inside her chest, the question remained. "Ready how?" In the watchtower, the lights were low and the screens were bright. Batman stood at the main console, fingers moving fast. He wasn't watching footage now. He was building a map. Points of light marked the last known location of Frieza's exit line. Lines extended from it, branching out into probable routes, like the veins of a leaf. Cyborg's voice came through the room speakers from the tech bay. "I'm running it through every database we have. There's nothing that matches him. That name shouldn't exist in this universe." Batman didn't look up. And yet it does. Flash sat on the floor with his back against a wall, knees up, arms wrapped around them like he was trying to hold himself in place. He was moving, even now. Not running, just vibrating lightly, a restless tremor. "Tell me again," Flash said. "Why the scary Space King gets to leave, and I have to stay here and feel my feelings." Wonder Woman stood near the window that looked down at Earth. Her posture was calm, her eyes were not. "He left because he chose to," she said. "Not because we allowed it." Hal Jordan hovered a few inches off the floor, ring glowing faintly, like it didn't trust the silence. John Stewart stood beside him, arms crossed, jaw set. Superman entered without fanfare. He looked like he had been moving non-stop since he came back from orbit. He nodded to everyone, then went straight to the window. Earth filled the view. "It's too quiet," Superman said. Batman's voice was dry. "You prefer screaming?" Superman didn't rise to it. "I prefer knowing where he is." Martian Manhunter stepped closer. His presence was gentle, but the room seemed to listen when he spoke. "His mind is not here," John said. "He's far enough that even a light touch is like reaching across an ocean." Flash swallowed. "So, we can't track him by mind. We can't track him by tech. We can't track him by smell, because we're not dogs." Batman finally turned, and the white slits of his eyes fixed on the team. "We can track outcomes," he said. He's not subtle. He will test things. He will take what he wants. There will be signs. Hal's mouth tightened. The core has been buzzing since the ring flagged him. You know what the Guardians hate. Batman didn't answer. Hal did anyway. Surprises. John spoke, quiet but sharp. They also hate anything that makes them look unprepared, which means they'll come down hard. Superman frowned. Hard how? John held his gaze. Containment. Quarantine. Force. Superman's shoulders tensed. We're not letting someone turn Earth into a battlefield between space police and an invader. Batman's tone stayed controlled. It will happen anyway if we don't control variables. Wonder Woman turned from the window. Speak plainly. Batman tapped a screen. A report appeared. Short, blunt, full of red warning markers. Frieza's behavior, Batman said. He demonstrated power, avoided full effort, and left when a third party tried to capture him. He reacts badly to anything that treats him as an object. Flash raised his hand like he was in school. I also react badly to being treated like an object. No one laughed. Batman continued. He respects strength. He enjoys fear. He gets bored. That combination means he doesn't need a reason to return. The reason is us. Superman looked at the screen. So we should show him strength, without giving him fear. Batman nodded once. And we should prepare for when strength isn't enough. Superman's voice stayed calm, but his eyes sharpened. Bruce. Batman didn't blink. Clark. The air between them tightened. Wonder Woman stepped in, not as a referee, but as a reminder of focus. We decide our line now, she said. What do we do if he demands obedience? If he threatens cities? If he offers deals? Flash's voice came out small. Do we have to decide today? Because I would like a nap before we decide how to fight a universe-hopping tyrant. Martian Manhunter looked at Flash with gentle sympathy. Fear does not wait for rest, he said. But we can still breathe. Cyborg's voice cut in again. I've got something. The probe he destroyed. It wasn't random. It was designed to scan and restrain. Whoever sent it anticipated resistance. Hal's eyes widened. Brainiac. John nodded once, grim. That's Brainiac's style. Superman's stomach sank. So this isn't just Frieza. Batman's hands moved again. A second set of points appeared on the map. Old Brainiac patterns, old abduction routes, old signals that had once turned cities into targets. This is why I said outcomes, Batman said. Frieza drew attention. Flash stared at the screen. So, a bigger monster saw a monster and said, I want that in a jar. Great. Wonder Woman's voice went colder. And Darkseid, we'll see the same. Superman turned to her. You think Darkseid will approach him? I think Darkseid approaches anything he thinks he can control, she replied. And he destroys what he cannot. Batman's comm line beeped. A new channel opened without him asking. Amanda Waller's voice filled the room. Good evening, she said. Or should I say, congratulations on not getting Earth destroyed today. Flash groaned. Oh no, the government is calling. Superman stiffened slightly. Waller. Waller's tone was flat. Superman. Batman didn't speak. He didn't have to. Waller knew he was there. I'm not here to argue, Waller said. I'm here to inform you. My people recovered debris from the probe incident. Minimal, but enough to confirm one thing. Batman's eyes narrowed. Confirm what? That something out there is now interested in Earth again, Waller said. Not as a curiosity, as a project. Superman's jaw tightened. We already know. Waller continued like she hadn't heard him. And my second message is this. The public wants answers. The Senate wants hearings. And there are people who will use today to push for new laws. Flash looked up. New laws like... Waller didn't sugarcoat it. Laws that limit you. Laws that demand oversight. Laws that treat you like a weapon system. Superman's eyes flicked to Batman, then away. We are not weapons. Waller's voice stayed steady. Tell that to the footage. Batman's mouth tightened. Say what you want. Waller did. I want contingency cooperation. I want intel sharing. And I want you to understand something. A beat. If Frieza comes back and the League fails, the world will not sit politely and die, Waller said. They will do whatever they think might work. And I will be the one signing the paperwork, Flash whispered. There's the paperwork again. Superman's voice sharpened. You don't get to turn this into a power grab. Waller didn't flinch. I get to keep this planet alive. Sometimes that looks like a power grab. Sometimes it looks like ugly choices. Batman stared at the screen. What choices are you preparing? Waller's pause was tiny. Options, she said. That's all. The channel closed. Silence returned, thicker than before. Flash rubbed his face. I hate when grown-ups say options. Superman looked down at Earth again. We can't fight fear with fear, he said, more to himself than to anyone. Batman stepped closer to him, voice lower. Then fight it with preparation. Superman turned. Preparation is not the problem. The problem is what people decide is acceptable when they're scared. Batman held his gaze. People are already deciding. Wonder Woman's hand rested lightly on the hilt of her sword. So we do what we always do, she said. We stand between the innocent and the threat. Hal exhaled. And we hope the Corps doesn't treat Earth like an infection. John's eyes hardened. Hope isn't a plan, but it can be a reason. Martian Manhunter looked at each of them, voice soft. Frieza is not here, he said, but the shadow he cast is here. It is inside minds, inside systems, inside politics. Flash swallowed. And inside my nightmares. Batman tapped his console again. A new file title appeared on a side screen. Frieza. Contact protocol under it. A second title. Frieza. Failure protocol. Superman stared at it. Bruce, Superman said quietly. Don't. Batman's voice was calm. Clark, I don't intend to use it. I intend to have it. Superman held the stare for a long second. Then he looked away, because arguing wouldn't move Frieza 1 inch. Fine, Superman said, but our first move stays the same. Batman's voice was immediate. Containment. Superman shook his head. Communication. Flash lifted a hand. Can we do, like, both? Talk while also having a giant net? Hal snorted once. That's basically what we did. And he laughed at it, Flash muttered. Superman stepped back from the window. We keep watch. We warn the cities. We coordinate with the Corps. We get ready for Brainiac. Batman's eyes narrowed. And we track Frieza's next sign. Cyborg's voice came through again, quick. We might have that sign sooner than we want. Batman turned sharply. What? Cyborg hesitated, then spoke. Deep space sensors just caught a burst, not on Earth, not near the watchtower. Something screamed across the map like a spike. Hal's ring glowed brighter. John's did too. Superman's posture changed, less tired, more focused. What kind of burst? Superman asked. Cyborg swallowed. The kind you get when something very strong hits something else very hard, Flash whispered. He's already punching the universe. Batman's voice was low, or he's being punched back. Lex Luthor did not watch the same way the others watched. He didn't watch with fear. He watched with hunger. In a hidden lab beneath LexCorp, the air smelled like metal and cold, clean chemicals. Machines hummed softly. Glass tubes held nothing yet, but they were ready for anything. On a table sat a small piece of debris inside a clear containment field. It was a shard from the destroyed probe. Lex stood over it, hands behind his back, his face calm. Mercy Graves watched him. We stole government property. Lex glanced at her. We borrowed it. And if the government asks, I'll say I was protecting the city. People love that. Mercy's eyes stayed flat. Does the shard do anything? Lex leaned closer. Not by itself, but it tells me what kind of mind built it. He tapped a screen. Patterns and symbols shifted. A map of signal structures appeared. Cold, layered, efficient. Brainiac, Lex murmured. Mercy's mouth tightened. So Brainiac is back because of the alien. Lex smiled. Brainiac is back because Brainiac is always back. The alien simply made it interesting. He walked to another console and opened a private channel. Not to the League, not to ARGUS, to the darker corners of the world. Release a rumor, Lex said into the mic, a controlled one, about an alien tyrant looking for a place to build. Mercy tilted her head. You're baiting him. Lex's eyes gleamed. I'm inviting him. Mercy didn't blink. Why? Lex turned, and his voice became almost gentle. Because Superman is not the only strongest in this world, Lex said. And if Frieza is truly what the footage suggests, he will not be satisfied with one symbol. He walked back to the shard and stared at it. And because when gods fight, Lex said softly, men like me get to rewrite the rules. Mercy's voice was quiet. You're playing with fire. Lex smiled without warmth. No. He looked up at the lab's ceiling, as if he could see the sky through miles of concrete. I'm playing with egos, Lex said, and egos are easier to control than fire. Far from Earth, where sunlight was thin and the stars looked sharper, Frieza drifted in silence. Space did not scare him. Space was familiar. He floated with his arms behind his back, tail curled lazily. Behind him, broken fragments of a small ship drifted like dead leaves. Frieza's expression was calm again, but inside his mind, something burned. Not fear. Insult. Someone had tried to trap him. Someone had tried to label him like a specimen. He hated that. He closed his eyes and listened, not with ears, but with instinct. In his own universe, strong power had a taste. Here, it did too. Different flavors, different rules. But power was power. He could feel a web out there, a system, a patrol, a law, something with green energy, stretching across space like a net of will. Frieza's lips curled. So this universe has its own little police. He drifted forward, faster, crossing distances that would take ships hours. He found them. A small group of space-faring criminals, pirates in a patched ship, full of stolen tech and loud music that scratched against the silence of space. They had no idea he was there until he was. Frieza appeared in front of their cockpit window, floating, smiling. The pirates screamed and tried to fire weapons. Lasers hit Frieza's body and vanished against his skin like rain against stone. Frieza sighed, bored. He waved one hand. Their ship stopped, not slowed. Stopped. The pirates inside slammed forward, thrown by their own momentum, then hung there, stunned. Frieza pressed his palm gently against the hull. The metal dented inward like soft clay. He pushed a little more, and the hull peeled open. Air and objects began to rush out. Frieza floated inside like he was walking into an office. The pirates clung to straps and rails, eyes wild. One of them tried to pull a knife, as if that meant anything. Frieza looked at the knife, then at the pirate's face. Now, Frieza said, voice calm. Let's have a conversation. The pirate leader, a broad man with scars, forced words out. What are you? Frieza smiled. I'm the question you should have asked before you chose crime. He floated closer, slow enough to let fear grow. I'm building something, Frieza said. A new structure, a new chain of command. The pirate leader swallowed. We don't. Frieza raised one finger. A tiny purple glow formed. The pirate leader shut his mouth. Here is how this works, Frieza continued, as if he were explaining rules to a child. You will tell me what you know about this universe. You will tell me who holds power. You will tell me who believes they cannot be challenged. He looked around at the pirates, eyes bright with cold humor. And you will apply, Frieza said, for the privilege of serving me. One pirate blurted, trembling. Apply? Frieza's smile widened. Yes, I am curious what you can offer. The pirate leader tried to regain pride. We have weapons. We have ships. We have routes. Frieza nodded once. Good. Continue. Hope sparked in the pirate's eyes. We can take you to places, safe places, hidden stations, black markets. We can... Frieza's finger glow disappeared. He tilted his head. And what do you do when someone stronger arrives? The pirate leader hesitated. Frieza waited patiently. The pirate leader whispered, We run. Frieza's smile vanished. He drifted closer. Wrong answer. The pirate leader's eyes widened. Wait! Frieza flicked his finger. A pirate behind the leader vanished in a clean flash. Gone. No scream after. Just empty space. The remaining pirates froze. Frieza's smile returned, gentle and terrifying. Try again. The pirate leader's voice cracked. We adapt. We bargain. Frieza sighed. Mediocre. He looked out through the open hull at the stars, thinking. Tell me, Frieza said, almost casually. Have you heard of a being called Brainiac? The pirate leader nodded fast. Yes, the Collector. He takes cities. Frieza's tail swayed. And Darkseid? The pirate leader's face went gray. You don't say that name like it's nothing. Frieza laughed once. Why not? Because the pirate leader swallowed hard. Because he breaks worlds. Frieza's eyes gleamed. Excellent, Frieza whispered. A universe with monsters who think they're kings. He turned back to the pirates. Routes, Frieza said. Outposts. Places where technology that opens doors is stored. Boom tubes, mother boxes, lantern lanes. I want it all. The pirate leader nodded fast, desperate. We can help. We can take you to a place, an old station. People trade mother box parts there sometimes. Dangerous stuff. Frieza drifted closer until his face was inches from the pirate leader's. Good, Frieza said softly. Your application has improved. The pirate leader flinched. So, we live? Frieza smiled. That depends. He tapped the pirate leader's chest lightly with one finger. The pirate leader gasped as if he couldn't breathe, eyes bulging. Frieza watched him calmly. Loyalty, Frieza said. Prove it. The pirate leader choked out words. I swear! Frieza removed his finger. The pirate leader sucked in air like it was water. Frieza turned away, bored again. You'll take me, Frieza said. And you'll do it quickly. If you lie, I will know. The pirate leader nodded, shaking. Frieza floated out of the ship and let the hull seal itself with a quick, neat blast that fused metal closed. He didn't even look back. In his mind, the plan was forming. Not just a fight. A system. If this universe wanted to treat him like an anomaly, he would become the new normal. In deep space, in a place where even lantern patrols did not pass without reason, Brainiac listened. A wall of screens showed fragments of the battle above Earth, not from human footage, from the probe's final data, compressed and clean. Frieza's movements were mapped into simple lines and numbers: strength, speed, reaction time, energy density. Brainiac's cold mind assembled it into one conclusion: rare. The probe's final recording had captured the name through translated systems, Frieza, and then ended in static. Brainiac did not feel anger. He felt direction. He turned his attention to Earth. Earth had been cataloged before, but not fully collected. It had resisted. It had heroes. It had variables. Now it had a new variable. Brainiac's voice, smooth and machine-like, filled his ship. New. Priority. Capture Frieza. A pause. Secondary priority. Collect Earth specimen set. Focus. Metropolis. High hero density. High cultural value. Robotic drones moved. Systems warmed. A map of Earth appeared, highlighting a city. Metropolis. Brainiac's logic was simple. If Frieza sought strength, then strength could be used as bait. If heroes fought to protect, then protection could be used as leverage. And if Frieza hated being treated like a specimen, then the cage must be perfect. On Apocalypse, the sky was always on fire, not the simple fire of a camp or a building. The sky itself was a dark storm of ash and burning light, lit by the furnaces of a world that ate pain. In a throne room carved from black stone, Darkseid sat like a mountain that had decided to wear armor. Desaad knelt before him, thin hands clasped, voice eager. A new being has entered the equation, Desaad purred. A conqueror, not of this reality. His name? Darkseid's voice cut like a blade. I know. Desaad blinked. Of course, my lord. Darkseid's eyes were calm. That calm was worse than rage. A conqueror who will not kneel, Darkseid said, almost amused. A creature driven by pride, Desaad smiled. Then we break him. Darkseid's gaze lowered to him. The air seemed to grow heavier. Or we use him, Darkseid said. Desaad bowed deeper. As you wish. Shall I send an emissary? A gift? A trap? Darkseid's mouth barely moved. Send an offer. Desaad's smile widened. And if he refuses? Darkseid's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the room felt like it might crack. Then he will learn, Darkseid said, that in my universe, I decide. On Earth, Batman didn't sleep. He stood alone in a side room of the watchtower, surrounded by screens that showed city grids, satellite feeds, and patterns of movement. He had opened a new folder. Inside it were subfolders: public response, government response, alien response, Brainiac response, apocalypse response. On a table near him sat a simple stack of paper. Flash walked in and stopped when he saw it. He pointed. Is that actual paper? Batman didn't look up. Yes. Flash stared, offended. On a space station? Batman's voice was dry. It's harder to hack. Flash shook his head slowly. That's the most Batman thing I've ever seen. Batman slid a page across the table without looking. Flash glanced down. The top line read, Frieza, Risk Assessment, Draft 1. Below it were bullet points. Flash's mouth fell open. Bruce, did you just make a homework sheet for an alien tyrant? Batman finally looked at him. I made a reality sheet. Flash's humor faded a little. What's the plan? Batman's eyes narrowed. The plan is to not be surprised twice. Flash swallowed. And if we can't stop him, Batman's voice lowered, then we stop the damage. Flash's hands clenched. That's not comforting. Batman nodded slightly. It's honest. Flash looked down at the paper again, then back up. Do you think Superman will agree to any of this? He asked. Batman's mouth tightened. He'll agree to what saves people? Flash hesitated. And what saves Superman? Batman didn't answer right away. Then quietly he said, That's on me. Flash stared at him, and for a moment, the jokes died completely. Then Flash exhaled, slow. Okay, he whispered. No more surprises. Batman's screens flickered. A warning chimed. Cyborg's voice came through, tense. Batman, I'm seeing something. Brainiac-level signal patterns, not a probe. Bigger. Batman's eyes sharpened. Where? Cyborg swallowed. Heading toward Earth. Flash's breath caught. Already? Batman's hands moved fast. He opened comms to the main room. League, Batman said. We have incoming. Frieza floated above a hidden station built into the side of an asteroid. Looked like a scar on rock, metal welded to stone, lights dim, shields patchy. A place criminals used because no one respectable wanted it. Frieza's new employees hovered behind him in their patched ship, terrified and obedient. The pirate leader pointed at a docking bay. That's it. They trade weird tech, sometimes new god stuff, sometimes… Frieza didn't let him finish. He drifted forward and landed on the docking bay like gravity was a servant. His tail curled behind him. His eyes swept the station. Guards raised weapons. Frieza smiled. He didn't fire. He didn't shout. He simply walked. The guards tried to stop him. They shouted. They threatened. One fired a plasma shot. Frieza didn't even flinch as it hit his shoulder and vanished. He walked up to the guard and placed 2 fingers on his forehead. The guard froze, eyes wide. Frieza's voice was soft. Announce me. The guard's lips trembled. Who? Frieza's fingers pressed a little more. The guard's eyes watered. Announce, Frieza repeated, still calm. The guard turned shakily and screamed into his comms. Something's here. Some alien. He can't be hurt. Frieza smiled, satisfied, and removed his fingers. He continued down the corridor like he owned it. People ran. Doors slammed. Cameras tracked him. A few braver criminals stepped out with heavy weapons. Frieza looked at them like a teacher looking at failing students. Then he raised one hand. A soft wave of pressure rolled down the corridor. Weapons bent. People slammed into walls. Lights shattered. The entire hallway bowed under invisible force. Frieza walked through the chaos without changing pace. He reached a central trade hall, a wide room full of stalls and black market tech. It was quieter now. Everyone stared at him. At the far end, a dealer stood behind a shielded counter, shaking, clutching a small, glowing cube. Frieza's eyes locked onto it, not because he knew what it was by name, because it felt like a door. The cube hummed, alive with strange energy. Frieza's smile widened. Ah, he murmured. Now we're getting somewhere. He drifted over the floor instead of walking, slow and smooth. The dealer backed away, pressing the cube against his chest. No, the dealer whispered. No, 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 this is new gods. This isn't… Frieza tilted his head. You're holding it like it matters. The dealer's eyes were wild. It does. It's a mother box fragment. It's broken, but it's still… Frieza's hand snapped out and grabbed the dealer by the throat. The room froze. Frieza lifted him easily with one arm, holding him off the ground like he weighed nothing. The dealer's feet kicked. His face turned red. Frieza stared into his eyes with calm curiosity. Does it open doors? Frieza asked. The dealer choked, barely nodding. Frieza's voice remained polite. Open one? The dealer shook his head weakly. I can't. It doesn't listen, it's… Frieza tightened his grip slightly. The dealer's eyes bulged. Frieza leaned closer. Listen carefully, he whispered. I'm giving you a chance to be useful. The dealer wheezed. It opens with… code, with… Frieza's eyes narrowed. Code. He turned his gaze to the mother box fragment. It hummed faster, as if it hated being near him. Frieza smiled again, slow. Very well, he said. If it wants code, I'll write code. He lifted one finger and traced a glowing line in the air. Not a computer language, not numbers. Power. He pressed that power into the fragment like forcing a lock. The fragment screamed, not with sound, but with a violent flare of energy. The room's lights died for a second. Then the air in front of Frieza folded. A dark oval opened, rimmed with crackling light. A boom tube. Everyone in the room backed away, terrified. Frieza's eyes gleamed. He released the dealer, letting him drop to the floor gasping. Frieza didn't care if he'd lived. He stepped toward the boom tube like a man stepping through a doorway into a new office. His tail swayed. My universe, Frieza said softly, had wormholes and ships and simple things. He looked into the darkness beyond the portal. This universe has doors, he murmured, and doors lead to kingdoms. Then he walked through, and somewhere far away, systems across the cosmos noticed. The Justice League met Brainiac's ship above Earth, not because they wanted to, because they had no choice. It arrived like a cold thought. No flair, no dramatic entry. Just a sudden appearance at the edge of Earth's orbit, dark and sleek and wrong. Cyborg's sensors screamed. Lantern rings blared warnings. The watchtower lit up with alerts. Superman hovered in front of the team in open space, shoulders squared. Same rule, he said. Keep it off the planet. Flash, evac support. Lanterns, barriers. Diana. Wonder Woman nodded. I'm ready. Batman's voice came through comms, clipped. Don't chase him. If Brainiac retreats, let him. If he pushes toward Earth, you push back. Flash's voice cracked slightly. If he pushes toward Earth, I push back. Got it. I love being a human sandbag. Hal muttered. You're not a sandbag, Flash snorted. You ever seen a sandbag evacuate a city in 2 seconds? Didn't think so. Brainiac's ship did not attack them first. It turned, slowly, facing Earth. A beam formed at its center, pale, thin, precise. Superman's stomach dropped. He's aiming at the planet. John's ring flared. Barrier! Green light exploded outward, forming a massive shield between Brainiac's ship and Earth. The beam fired. It struck the barrier and pushed. The barrier held, then began to bend. Hal gritted his teeth, pouring will into the construct. He's trying to punch through. Cyborg's voice was tight. That's not a weapon beam. It's a retrieval beam. He's targeting a city. Batman's voice snapped. Which one? Cyborg swallowed. Metropolis! Superman surged forward without thinking, slamming into the beam's path. Heat vision flared, cutting at the beam's edges, trying to disrupt it. Wonder Woman flew in beside him, bracelets raised, deflecting smaller drone shots that had begun to spray outward. Martian Manhunter reached toward Brainiac's ship with his mind, but the ship's mental defenses were like steel walls lined with ice. Flash vanished, not into space, back to Earth, to the edge of Metropolis, where people were still rebuilding. He appeared in a street full of workers and reporters and shouted, "Okay, everyone, fun update. We're doing an emergency drill we did not schedule." People stared. Flash's eyes widened. "Move! Please! Now!" He started grabbing people, moving them in blur bursts to safe zones, setting them down gently, then running back for more. In orbit, Superman drove his body into the beam again and again, forcing it to flicker. Brainiac's ship adjusted. Drones poured out like black bees. Lantern constructs snapped them apart, but there were too many. Cyborg's voice trembled. He's adapting. He learned from the probe. Batman's reply was immediate. He always adapts. Superman clenched his fists. He wants to bottle Metropolis, he said. Wonder Woman's eyes flashed. Then we cut the hand reaching for it. They pushed forward, the team moving as one. Hal and John formed a tunnel of green energy, trying to channel the beam away from Earth. Martian Manhunter turned intangible and slid through drone fire, aiming for the ship's core systems. Superman slammed into the ship's hull hard enough to shake it. For a moment, it felt like they could stop it. Then Brainiac spoke through every comm channel at once, calm and cold. Metropolis is a valuable specimen. Collection is inevitable. Flash, on Earth, heard it through a police. Radio he'd tossed into a safe zone. His stomach twisted. He ran faster. In orbit, the beam intensified. And then something else happened. Something none of them expected. The beam didn't just pull at Metropolis. It shifted. As if Brainiac's systems had sensed a second target. A stronger target. Batman's voice went sharp. "Why is the beam changing frequency?" Cyborg's answer was tight. "It's scanning for something else. Something with extremely high energy density." Superman's blood ran cold. "Frieza," he said. Wonder Woman looked up into the black. "He's near." Hal's ring flared. "It's locking on." The beam flicked away from Earth for a fraction of a second, dragging across space like a searching finger. Then it found something far off. A spike of power. A moving point. Too fast to be a ship, too controlled to be a meteor. Superman's eyes widened. "He's coming back!" "No!" Batman's voice cut in. "He's being targeted!" The beam snapped fully away from Metropolis and shot out into deep space. Brainiac's ship shifted its entire posture like a hunter turning toward prey. And for the first time, Superman felt something he didn't like. Not relief. Dread. Because if Brainiac captured Frieza, he didn't want to imagine what Brainiac would do with that. Frieza stepped out of the boom tube into a dead place. Not empty space. Not a simple planet. A drifting outpost built from black stone and strange metal, floating between worlds like abandoned teeth. Symbols carved into its walls hummed faintly with old power. The air, thin and sharp, tasted like war. Frieza's tail swayed. He smiled. A few parademons, winged soldiers with dark armor, rose from hidden perches, weapons raised. They hesitated when they saw him, not because they recognized him, because their instincts screamed. Frieza looked at them like he was judging their posture. "Interesting uniform," he said, almost amused. "Very grim. Very obedient." The parademons screeched and charged. Frieza didn't move. He lifted one hand and snapped his fingers. A shockwave blasted outward. The parademons slammed into walls like toys, armor cracking. A few fell limp, drifting in slow motion. Frieza walked forward over their bodies, unbothered. He reached the center of the outpost and placed a hand on a console. The console was dead. He frowned slightly. "So," he murmured, "this door leads to nothing." Then he felt it. A pull, a thin, pale beam slicing across space toward him like an invisible leash. Frieza's eyes narrowed. He turned his head and watched the beam approach. His lips curled. "You again," he whispered, and his voice held pure hate. The beam struck him. For a fraction of a second, his muscles locked. Then his power flared. The beam tightened. Frieza's body hummed with force, resisting, tail snapping in anger. "I'm not a specimen," he said, voice low. The beam yanked. Frieza's feet lifted, slightly, dragging him through open space toward something far away. Frieza's smile returned, sharp and vicious. "Oh," he said softly. "You want me to visit." He stopped resisting and let the beam pull him, not because he couldn't break it, because he wanted to see who dared. He folded his arms and allowed himself to be dragged like a king being carried on a rude chair. His eyes gleamed. "Very well," Frieza murmured. "Take me to your master." In orbit, Superman saw a bright point appear in the distance. It was moving fast, coming straight toward Brainiac's ship, pulled by the retrieval beam. "Confirmed," Cyborg said, voice tight. "That's Frieza." Flash's voice came through comms, breathless. "I've got most of a downtown clear, but if you guys drop anything big, please don't drop it on my head." Superman's eyes stayed locked on the distant figure. Frieza was not struggling. He was letting himself be pulled. That terrified Superman more than if Frieza had been thrashing. Wonder Woman whispered, "He's choosing this." Hal's voice was tense. Brainiac is pulling him in. John's voice was grim. If Brainiac cages him, we're done. Batman's voice cut in, controlled but urgent. You stop Brainiac. Do not let him integrate Frieza's power. Do not let him extract anything. Superman's throat went dry. And if stopping Brainiac means saving Frieza? Batman's pause was tiny. Then quietly, you save Earth. Superman's jaw tightened. He heard the logic. He hated it. Frieza reached Brainiac's ship. He drifted close, still held by the beam, and looked at the hole like a man looking at a store window. He smiled. Then he moved. He flexed, and the beam snapped like a thread. A shockwave rolled outward. Lantern constructs shook. Drones tumbled. Superman felt the pressure in his chest. Frieza floated in front of Brainiac's ship. Calm, arms behind his back again. The name had reached everyone now. Rings, databases, panic news. Frieza didn't care. Brainiac's voice came through, cold. Specimen! Frieza's voice cut over it, smooth and deadly. Say that word again. A pause. Brainiac didn't understand insult. He understood data. Specimen Frieza. Capture? Frieza vanished. He appeared against the ship's hull and punched. The ship didn't explode, but it buckled. A deep dent formed in the metal like a giant thumb pressed into it. Systems flickered. Drones stalled mid-flight. Superman stared. Wonder Woman's eyes narrowed. He can damage it. Hal's voice shook. He's tearing through Brainiac's hull. John swallowed. He's not helping us. He's helping himself. Superman didn't argue. He couldn't. Frieza struck again, faster, harder. He drove his palm into the dent, and a pulse of purple energy poured into the ship. Not wild, controlled. Brainiac's ship screamed with alarms. Cyborg gasped. He's hitting internal systems. He can sense where to strike. Martian Manhunter hovered above, mind racing. He is furious. Superman moved. He didn't have time to hate Frieza. He had time to stop Brainiac. He flew toward the ship's beam array, heat vision cutting through drone swarms as he approached. Wonder Woman followed, carving a path with shield and sword. The lanterns formed a wide containment field around the ship, trying to limit debris and keep any beam from hitting Earth again. Flash, far below, kept running, evacuating and calming, yelling at people to move while trying to sound like it was all under control. On the ship, Brainiac reacted. Panels shifted, hidden cannons emerged. New beams fired, gravity nets, energy clamps, and pulsing fields designed to slow and compress. Frieza hovered and watched them come. He smiled like someone watching a bad magic trick. The first net hit him and wrapped tight. Frieza's muscles tensed. The net tightened, trying to shrink him down, trying to fold space around him. Frieza's smile faded. His eyes became flat. You don't learn, he said quietly. He exhaled, and his aura surged. The net cracked. Brainiac fired again, this time with a denser beam aimed at Frieza's chest. Frieza raised one finger. A thin purple beam met Brainiac's beam mid-air. Two lines of light collided, the space between them distorted, trembling. Superman reached the beam array and slammed into it, ripping metal plating away. He tore cables free and tossed them into space, away from Earth. Wonder Woman landed on the hull with him and drove her sword into a panel, slicing through a conduit. Cyborg shouted, "That's it. Keep cutting. You're disrupting his city retrieval." Hal gritted his teeth, forcing constructs into the ship's drone ports, plugging them like corks. John reinforced the containment bubble, voice strained. "If this ship blows, I'm not letting it rain on Earth." Martian Manhunter phased into the ship, slipping through layers, aiming for the core mind. He felt cold logic like a storm inside. Brainiac's defenses slammed into him, programs like mental knives. John grimaced and pushed through, focusing on one thing: delay, confuse, disrupt. He didn't need to defeat Brainiac's mind. He needed to slow it long enough. Outside, Frieza grew more annoyed. He moved again, slipping past beams and nets with smooth speed, striking the ship's hull at exact points. Each hit made the ship stutter like it was losing balance. Brainiac's voice came through, colder now. Threat level increased. Adjusting. Prioritize Earth collection. Secondary. Frieza elimination. Superman's eyes widened. He's shifting back. Sure enough, the beam array, damaged but not dead, began to rotate again toward Earth. Metropolis. Flash's voice cracked. Hey, guys, the sky over the city just got weird again. Please tell me that's not— It is, Batman said, voice sharp. Stop it now. Superman surged. Forward. He flew straight into the beam array's path and slammed his shoulder into it, forcing it off angle. Wonder Woman grabbed the edge of the array and held, muscles straining. Hal and John poured power into locking constructs around it, trying to freeze it in place. Brainiac's ship fought back, and Frieza saw the beam turning toward the planet. He paused, watching. Superman expected, for a wild second, that Frieza might fire at Earth out of spite, just to show he could. Frieza didn't, not because he cared about Earth, because he hated Brainiac more in that moment. No, Frieza said softly, staring at the beam like it was an insult. You don't get to take what I haven't claimed. He lifted one hand and fired a blast into the array. The blast didn't explode wildly, it drilled. The array's center collapsed inward, folding like crushed metal. The beam sputtered and died. Flash's voice came through, breathless and relieved. Okay, cool. The sky is normal again. Nobody panic. Too late. They're panicking. But less. Superman looked at Frieza, shocked despite himself. Wonder Woman's eyes narrowed. He stopped it for himself. Superman didn't disagree. He still felt a small, unwanted wave of relief. Brainiac's ship shuddered. Cyborg shouted, "He's losing control of the main systems!" Martian Manhunter's voice came through strained inside the ship. His mind is recalculating. He's preparing to retreat. Batman's voice snapped. Do not follow. You keep him from taking anything. Superman's eyes darted. Anything like what? Cyborg answered with a chill in his tone. Data. Samples. Pieces. Superman's stomach twisted. He looked down toward Earth. He realized something too late. Brainiac didn't need to bottle the whole city to win. He could take a piece, a person, a device, a secret. The ship opened small ports along its underside. Thin beams flickered downward. Not huge city beams, but tiny, precise ones. Flash's voice went sharp. He's doing small grabs. I see it. He's trying to snatch people in single flashes. Flash ran faster, cutting beams off by moving targets out of the way before they could be touched. Superman shouted, Barry, don't get caught! Flash didn't answer. He was too busy saving. Wonder Woman's jaw clenched. We end this. Superman nodded. He and Wonder Woman flew toward the ship's core, tearing through drones. Hal and John tightened the containment field around the ship, trying to stop it from slipping away. Frieza hovered near the ship's hull, watching all of them now with a calm, pleased expression. He looked entertained. That made Superman furious. Frieza raised his hand. A bright sphere of purple energy formed, dense and humming. Superman stiffened. Don't. Frieza glanced at him like Superman had spoken out of turn. I didn't ask your permission, Frieza said softly. He thrust the sphere into the ship's side. The ship screamed, metal warping. The containment field shook violently. John grunted, forcing more will into it. If he cracks it open, it'll— Hal's voice was strained. It'll blow. Superman's eyes widened. Frieza! Frieza didn't care. He wanted the ship to suffer. But even in his rage, Brainiac was not stupid. The ship began to collapse inward, not exploding outward, but folding into itself like it was compressing its own mass, creating a tunnel of escape, A teleport. A retreat. Frieza's eyes narrowed. He tried to follow the shifting core with a blast, but the ship's systems were already slipping away. In the last second, Superman saw it. A small beam flashed from the ship toward Earth, not at a person, at an object. A chunk of debris from the earlier probe fight, now sitting in ARGUS containment. Brainiac snatched it like a thief taking a key. Then the ship vanished. The containment field snapped shut on empty space. Silence hit like a punch. Hal hovered, breathing hard. He got away. John's eyes were grim, but not empty-handed. Cyborg's voice was hollow. He took something. I don't know what yet. Superman clenched his fists so hard his gloves creaked. Wonder Woman looked at the stars where the ship had been. He will return, she said, with better tools. Superman nodded, jaw tight. Then he felt movement behind him. He turned. Frieza hovered close, calm again, as if none of this mattered. You handled that better than I expected, Frieza said, voice almost polite. For heroes. Superman's eyes burned. You were enjoying it. Frieza smiled. Of course. Wonder Woman's blade lifted a fraction. Leave. Frieza's eyes slid to her, amused. Make me. Superman stepped forward, voice low. If you come back to Earth, if you hurt people. Frieza cut him off with a small laugh. You keep talking about Earth as if it's yours. He drifted back slightly, tail swaying. This universe is full of doors, Frieza said, eyes gleaming. And behind doors are kingdoms. He looked at Superman again. And you, Frieza said softly, are one of the first interesting things I found. Superman felt the threat like ice. Frieza turned his gaze toward Earth. Then, without warning, he shot away. Faster than before, a clean streak into deep space. Not fleeing, choosing. Superman hovered there, breathing hard, watching. Wonder Woman drifted beside him. He's building something, she said. Superman's voice was quiet. So are we. The hidden asteroid station was silent when Frieza returned. Not because everyone was asleep, because everyone was gone. The pirates he had hired had tried to run. Frieza found their ship drifting near the docking bay, engines dead. He floated to the cockpit window and peered inside. The pirate leader stared out, shaking, sweat on his brow. Please, the pirate mouthed, even though Frieza couldn't hear him through vacuum. Frieza smiled. He opened the hole with a gentle press, like before, and drifted inside. He did not rush. He did not shout. He simply floated close enough for the pirate leader to see his eyes. I gave you a job, Frieza said softly. The pirate leader's voice cracked. I thought... Brainiac, Darkseid. This is too big. Frieza nodded slowly, as if considering. It is big, Frieza agreed. That's why it's worth owning. The pirate leader swallowed. We can still help. Frieza raised one finger. No. He looked around the cockpit. Then he smiled again, almost friendly. Your application, Frieza said, has been rejected. He flicked his finger. The pirate leader vanished in a clean flash. Frieza turned away, bored again, and left the ship to drift. He didn't need small criminals anymore. He needed assets, real ones. He reached out with his senses and followed the taste of new gods, tech, lantern will, and cosmic power. The mother box fragment he carried hummed weakly, like it was terrified. Frieza smiled at it. Don't worry, he said softly, as if speaking to a pet. You'll be useful. Then he moved, not toward Earth, toward the doors. Batman received the after-action report with no emotion on his face. Inside, he felt it, the line tightening. Brainiac had returned because of Frieza. Frieza had learned because of Brainiac. And the world's fear had grown because neither threat had ended cleanly. On one screen, a live news feed showed Metropolis crowds again. Some cheering the League, some chanting for oversight, some shouting about aliens and gods and the end of safety. On another screen, a secure ARGUS channel showed an empty containment unit. The shard was gone. Batman's voice came through to the League room. Brainiac took tech. Superman's posture stiffened. From Waller. Batman didn't answer the implication. He simply spoke facts. He now has samples of the probe system and data from the fight. He will refine. Hal's ring chimed again with a message from the core. John's eyes narrowed as he read it. "What?" Superman asked. John's jaw tightened. "The Guardians want to send a containment squad to Earth orbit. They call it protective presence." Flash groaned. "Ah, yes. Space cops parking over our house. The neighbors will love that." Wonder Woman's voice was flat. "They will treat Earth like a problem to manage." Superman's eyes hardened. "We are not letting Earth become a prison." Batman's voice was low. "Then stop the threats that make it look like one." Cyborg looked up from his console. "We've got another signal," he said. "Not Brainiac. Different. It's like a door opening." Batman's eyes narrowed. "Where?" Cyborg swallowed. "Far. But the tech signature is New God style." Wonder Woman's face tightened. "Boom tube." Superman's stomach dropped. "Frieza." Batman's voice was immediate. "Track it." Cyborg's fingers flew. "I'm trying. It's moving, like he's hopping." Flash whispered. "He's shopping for portals." Superman shot him a look. Flash raised both hands. "Not eating shopping. Like evil shopping. Bad shopping." Batman's voice cut in. Dry. "He's building." Superman stared at Earth on the main screen again. He thought of the boy's sign. Superman saved us. He wanted to keep earning it. He also knew a hard truth now. Saving a city once was not the same as saving it tomorrow. He turned back to the team. "We go," Superman said. Hal frowned. "Where?" "We don't know his exact location." Superman's eyes were steady. "Then we start closing doors." Batman's voice was calm. "And we start preparing for the day he stops asking politely." Wonder Woman lifted her chin. "He never asked politely." Flash exhaled, then forced a shaky smile. "Okay, door duty. Cool. I'm great at doors. I open them fast." No one laughed, but they moved, because the next phase had begun. And somewhere in the dark, Frieza was learning the map of a universe full of kings and deciding which crown he would take first. 3 weeks after the sky tore open, Earth learned a new kind of waiting. On the watchtower, Superman stared at the curve of the planet like he could hold it together by looking hard enough. The blue was still blue. The clouds still moved. Cities still glowed at night. From this far away, it almost looked like nothing had changed. But the radio chatter had changed. The headlines had changed. The way people looked up at open sky had changed. Behind him, the room was quieter than usual. Not empty. Just careful. A green ring light flickered on a screen to his left. It showed a lantern patrol line parked in high orbit. The Guardians called it protective presence. The public called it space cops. Conspiracy channels called it the beginning of the end. Superman heard footsteps. Batman entered without a sound. Like always, he carried a thin folder, not a digital tablet, a real folder. Superman didn't turn. "Any new signals?" Batman stopped beside the window. 2 minor boom tube spikes in the last 72 hours, both in deep space, both too far to confirm visually. Superman's jaw tightened. "So he's still jumping?" Batman nodded once. "He's learning the doors." Superman stared at the planet. "And Brainiac?" Batman's mouth tightened. "Quiet, which means he's not done." Superman exhaled slowly. "The quiet is the worst." Batman opened the folder and slid a page out, holding it between 2 gloved fingers like it was evidence at a crime scene. "The Senate wants you to testify," Batman said. Superman turned at last. I'm not a government employee. Batman didn't argue. They're scared. They want a handle. Superman's eyes hardened. We don't give them handles. We give them safety. Batman's gaze stayed steady. Safety requires trust. Trust requires transparency. Superman looked away, fighting the frustration. And where does it stop? Oversight committees? Authorization codes? A leash? Batman's voice stayed flat. It stops where it has to. But it won't stop by itself. A comm light blinked. Cyborg's voice filled the air, low and tense. Heads up. ARGUS just confirmed the theft was not a normal breach. They think Brainiac used a remote beam, like a surgical grab. Superman clenched a fist. He stole a piece of his own probe. Batman's eyes narrowed. He stole a key. Or a blueprint. Flash's voice cut in, tired, but trying to sound normal. So, fun update. Brainiac is building a better jar, and our new alien king is building a better door system. Anyone else feel like the universe is doing a group project, and we're the only ones who didn't read the syllabus? No one laughed. Superman turned back to the window. We need to find Frieza. Batman's answer was immediate. We need to be ready when he finds us. Superman's voice softened, just a little. People need hope. Batman's voice was quiet. People need plans. Superman looked at him, and for a moment, the argument was there again. The same old line between symbol and shadow. Then Superman nodded. Both. Batman didn't smile, but he didn't fight it either. Another comm light blinked. Amanda Waller's voice came through like a knife scraping a table. Watchtower. I'm sending a file. Batman's eyes narrowed. Waller, this is not a secure channel. Waller's tone didn't change. It's secure enough for what I'm about to say. A new document appeared on the main screen. Frieza, contact attempt log, unsuccessful. Below it were timestamps, locations, and 3 short lines. Contact attempt via off-world relay, ignored. Contact attempt via captured pirate network, terminated. Contact attempt via diplomatic broadcast. Message returned with mocking commentary. Flash leaned closer to the screen. Mocking commentary? Waller's voice stayed flat. He sent back a list of questions. Superman frowned. What kind of questions? Waller read them like she was reading a grocery list. Who is your leader? What is your chain of command? How long does it take for your planet to surrender? And my personal favorite, do you always talk this much before you lose? Flash made a small, choking sound. He's doing customer service. Batman's eyes narrowed. He's testing response times. Superman's voice went low. He's baiting fear. Waller's voice didn't soften. And it's working. Cities are asking for new defense contracts. Governments are asking for more authority. People are asking why Superman can't just handle it. Superman's jaw tightened. Because it's not that simple. Waller's tone sharpened. Explain that to a mother who watched the sky split. The channel closed. The watchtower felt colder. Superman stared at Earth again. We cannot let this turn into panic law. Batman's voice was controlled. Then we end the uncertainty. Superman's eyes narrowed. How? Batman tapped the folder. We close doors. Superman looked at him. He can open new ones. Batman's gaze stayed steady. Then we make every door cost him something. Superman didn't like it, but he understood it. Frieza's new base was not a palace. Not yet. It was an abandoned fortress station at the edge of a dead sector, built long ago by someone who liked thick walls and sharp angles. It floated in shadow, hidden behind a cluster of cold rocks. The lights were dim, the air was clean, the silence was perfect. Frieza sat in a high-backed chair he had not bothered to decorate. He didn't need decoration. He needed function. A line of beings stood in front of him. Not heroes, Not gods. Applicants. The first was a tall alien mercenary with scarred skin and heavy armor. The second was a smug human smuggler wearing a stolen lantern battery pack on his belt like a trophy. The third was a giant with chains and a grin that looked permanently stuck on his face. Lobo leaned forward, elbows on knees, as if this was a bar meeting instead of an interview with a conqueror. Frieza rested his chin on one hand. His tail curled slowly behind him. He looked bored. "I will be clear," Frieza said. "I am building a structure, a hierarchy, a system that obeys." The mercenary swallowed. "Yes, sir." The smuggler nodded too fast. "Absolutely. Whatever you want." Lobo laughed. "This is adorable." Frieza's eyes slid to Lobo. "You're loud?" "I'm honest," Lobo said. "And I heard you're the new big bad in town, so I came to see if the rumors were good." Frieza's mouth curved slightly. "Rumors are usually exaggerated." Lobo grinned wider. "So prove 'em right." Frieza ignored the bait. He tapped one finger on the armrest. A drone floated forward, small, metal, and silent, holding a flat sheet of material. A form. The mercenary blinked. "Is that?" Frieza's eyes narrowed. "Yes, paperwork." Lobo burst out laughing, loud enough to echo. "No way. You're doing forms? In space?" Frieza's expression turned sour. "Do not mock me." Lobo's grin didn't fade. "I'm not mocking you. I'm mocking the universe. One day I'm fighting Superman. Next day I'm watching a space tyrant run a hiring event." The human smuggler raised a hand slowly. "Do we sign it?" Frieza stared at him like he was a slow animal. "No." He snapped his fingers. The form vanished in a clean flash. The applicants flinched. Frieza exhaled, annoyed. "I hate this universe's obsession with documents." A lieutenant, one of the few survivors Frieza had kept from the pirate network, stepped forward carefully. He held a small tablet. "Lord Farr," the lieutenant began. Frieza lifted a finger. "Speak quickly." The lieutenant's voice shook. "We have new data, sir. A boom tube signature near a world called Tamaran. A lantern patrol line changed routes. Also, a message." Frieza's eyes sharpened. "From who?" The lieutenant hesitated. "From a human. A wealthy one. He calls himself Lex Luthor." Lobo whistled. "Oh, I know that guy. Bald. Angry. Thinks he's the main character?" Frieza ignored him. "Put the message on screen." A hologram formed. Lex Luthor appeared in crisp lighting, standing in a clean room with flags behind him. He smiled like he was offering a deal that benefited everyone. "Frieza," Lex said smoothly, using the name like he owned it. "I represent a world of resources. You represent a level of power that can change the rules of reality. We should speak." Frieza stared at the projection with calm contempt. Lex continued. "I can offer intelligence, technology, and infrastructure. I can offer you a foothold on Earth without wasting time on pointless heroics. In return, I ask for a—" Frieza flicked his finger. Lex's hologram froze mid-sentence and shattered. Silence. The mercenary stared, trembling. The smuggler swallowed so hard his throat clicked. Lobo laughed softly. "He's gonna hate that." Frieza leaned back. "Humans love offers," he said. "They think words are power." He looked at the applicants again. "Words are not power. Power is power." He pointed at the mercenary first. "You. Show me your strength." The mercenary stepped forward, trying to look brave. He raised a heavy arm cannon and fired at a reinforced target wall. The blast made a decent crater. Frieza blinked slowly. "You call that strength," Frieza said. The mercenary's voice cracked. It's military grade." Frieza lifted one hand. A tiny purple beam shot from his finger and sliced the crater into a perfect circle, cutting deeper, cleaner, like the wall was made of wet clay. The mercenary froze. Frieza's eyes were flat. Rejected! The mercenary fell to his knees. Please! Frieza's tail swayed. Leave. 2 guards dragged the mercenary away. Frieza did not look at him again. He turned to the smuggler. You! What do you offer? The smuggler licked his lips. Roots, black markets, tech. I can find mother boxes. I can… Frieza's eyes narrowed. You can find doors. The smuggler nodded fast. Yes, yes. I can bring you to them. Frieza leaned forward slightly. Good. That is useful. The smuggler exhaled in relief. Then Frieza's gaze shifted to Lobo again. And you, Frieza said. What do you offer? Lobo grinned. Entertainment. Frieza's eyes narrowed. That's not an asset. Lobo shrugged. Depends. People fear what they don't understand. People fight what they hate. People obey what scares them. I'm great at all of that. Frieza studied him. Lobo was strong, not at the level that mattered to Frieza, but strong enough to be a problem for many. And more importantly, he was proud. He wouldn't kneel. He wouldn't beg. He wouldn't pretend. Frieza almost respected that. Almost. You will not serve, Frieza said. Lobo's grin stayed. Yeah, I figured. Frieza's lips curled. But you might be useful. Lobo leaned back. Now we're talking. Frieza raised one finger. If you interfere with my plans, I will erase you. Lobo laughed again, delighted. If you can. The guards tensed. Frieza did not move. He only smiled, very small. I can. Lobo stood and cracked his neck like he was getting up from a chair in a diner. All right, Space Boss. Keep my name in your pocket. If someone puts a bounty on you, I might come back. He winked. Or if you put a bounty on someone else. Then he walked away as if he owned the hallway. The smuggler stared after him, terrified. He's leaving. You're letting him leave. Frieza's eyes stayed calm. He's loud, but he's honest. I prefer honest to obedient liars. He leaned back again. Now, Frieza said, voice smooth. Bring me the door map. The lieutenant held up the mother box fragment, wrapped in shielding. It hummed like a frightened animal. Frieza smiled at it. Open for me, he whispered. The fragment pulsed, resisting, then responded. Because Frieza did not ask. He pressed. A dark oval began to form in the air again, crackling at the edges. A boom tube. Frieza stood. Power flowed around him like a quiet storm. Find me kingdoms, Frieza said. Find me gods. Find me anything that thinks it can tell me what I am. The portal stabilized, and on the other side, a different darkness waited. On Apocalypse, Desaad watched the portal open like a wound. He smiled with too many teeth. Darkseid did not rise from his throne. He did not need to. His presence was enough. It pressed into the air like gravity. Desaad turned, voice sweet. My lord, the anomaly approaches, right on schedule. Darkseid's eyes were calm. He thinks he's choosing. Desaad bowed. Should I prepare the welcome? Darkseid's voice did not rise. Prepare the offer. A figure stepped out of the boom tube into a harsh red glow. Frieza's boots touched Apocalypse stone. He glanced around, taking in the world in a single calm sweep. Endless towers, fire-lit sky, soldiers in lines, machinery that sounded like suffering. His eyes gleamed. Finally, Frieza murmured, a place with taste. Parademons moved toward him, weapons raised. Frieza didn't even turn his head. The air around him tightened. The parademons froze, then slammed backward, as if a wall had hit them. Frieza continued forward, unbothered. Desaad walked out, hands clasped, smile eager. Frieza. Frieza's eyes slid to him. And you are the servant. Desaad's smile twitched. I am Desaad, advisor to the ruler of this world. Frieza's gaze lifted to the throne. Darkseid sat like a statue that had decided to be alive. Frieza stared. Then he smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of a hunter seeing another hunter. "So you are the king," Frieza said. Darkseid's voice rolled through the hall, deep and simple. "I am Darkseid." Frieza laughed once, soft. "They told me your name like it was a curse." Darkseid did not react. Names are tools. Frieza began walking forward, slow and confident. "Then let's use them." Desaad stepped closer, arms spreading. "My lord offers you purpose, a place, an alliance." Frieza's eyes narrowed. "An alliance implies equals." Desaad's smile widened. "In practice, it means you serve Darkseid. You bring your power to his cause. You help him take what is rightfully his." Frieza stopped walking. He stared at Desaad. Then he looked back to Darkseid. His voice was polite, like someone declining a dinner invitation. "No," Frieza said. Desaad's smile faltered. "Consider carefully. Darkseid grants you a role in an empire beyond." Frieza's eyes sharpened. "I do not take roles." Desaad's voice turned sharper. "Then you will be broken." Frieza tilted his head. "You can try." Darkseid's gaze stayed on Frieza, steady and unreadable. "You are pride," Darkseid said. "You are conquest. You are hunger." Frieza's tail swayed. "And you are control." Darkseid's voice was calm. "Join me." Frieza's smile returned, sharp. "Kneel first." The air in the throne room changed. Parademons tensed. The stone felt heavier. Desaad whispered, "Fool." Darkseid did not move, but his eyes brightened slightly. "Very well," Darkseid said. A boom tube opened behind Frieza. Not an escape, a trap. A squad of elite apocalyptian warriors stepped through, heavier than parademons, built for war. At their front was Kalebak, massive and snarling, swinging a brutal weapon like it was light. Frieza looked at Kalebak like he was an inconvenience. Kalebak roared and charged. Frieza raised one hand, a simple gesture. Kalebak slammed into an invisible wall and stopped dead, weapon stuck mid-swing like time had grabbed it. Frieza walked forward, still looking at Darkseid. Kalebak strained, furious. The wall held. Frieza didn't even glance at him. "You send your dog," Frieza said. Darkseid's voice stayed calm. "I send reality." Frieza's eyes narrowed. "Show me." Darkseid rose. Not quickly, not dramatically. He simply stood, and the room felt smaller. Frieza felt something then, for the first time in this universe, that wasn't just strength. It was weight. Not physical weight. Authority that tried to force the world to agree. Frieza smiled wider. "Good." Darkseid's eyes flared. Twin beams of red light shot out, omega beams, curving through the air like they were alive. Frieza moved. His body vanished and reappeared, dodging in a sharp burst. The omega beams turned and chased. Frieza's eyes widened slightly, impressed despite himself. "They follow," Frieza murmured. He raised a hand and fired a dense purple blast. The blast collided with one beam. The air cracked. The omega beam bent around it and kept coming, like it refused to accept no. Frieza's smile faded into focus. He shot upward, fast, taking the fight away from the throne hall and into the open sky above Apocalypse. The omega beams followed. Darkseid rose into the air too, slow and effortless, like gravity worked for him. Below them, fires burned. Machines rumbled. Above them, the sky boiled red. Frieza hovered, arms behind his back, tail lashing once. Darkseid floated opposite him, hands at his sides, calm. "Join me," Darkseid repeated. Frieza's voice was clear. "Never." Darkseid's eyes narrowed. "Then you will serve as a lesson." The omega beams shot again, faster. Frieza darted aside, then forward, closing distance in a blink. He struck Darkseid with a punch meant to shatter mountains. Darkseid moved half an inch back. That was it. Frieza's eyes flashed. He struck again, faster. 2 blows, 3, 4, each one ripping shockwaves through the air. Darkseid's body absorbed them like stone absorbs rain. Darkseid reached out and grabbed Frieza's wrist. Frieza felt the grip. It wasn't just strong, it was final, like a lock closing. Frieza's smile returned, tense. "So you are real." Darkseid pulled, trying to draw Frieza closer, trying to control position. Frieza flexed and ripped free, slipping back, aura flaring. He raised 2 fingers and fired a thin beam straight for Darkseid's chest. Darkseid's hand lifted. The beam hit his palm and stopped, held there, sizzling. Darkseid's eyes stayed calm. Frieza's mouth tightened. Then Frieza did something different. He didn't just blast. He aimed. He fired a spread of smaller shots, not to hurt Darkseid directly, but to shatter the air around him, to disrupt space, to force an opening. The sky flashed purple in quick bursts. Darkseid's Omega beams cut through the blasts, still tracking. Frieza moved faster, weaving, dodging, letting the beams chase him close, then whipping around and firing a dense sphere right into their curve point. The sphere exploded. For a moment, the beams broke apart into scattered red lines. Frieza shot forward. He landed a clean hit on Darkseid's jaw. Darkseid's head turned slightly. Frieza's eyes widened with satisfaction. Then, Darkseid's hand touched Frieza's chest. Not a punch, a touch. Frieza felt the world try to press him into place, a crushing force, like reality itself was telling him to stop resisting. Frieza's body trembled, his teeth clenched. He refused. His aura flared harder, pushing back. The 2 forces met. The air around them warped. Frieza's voice came out tight. "You want obedience?" Darkseid's voice was steady. "I want order," Frieza snarled. "Order is what weak kings call chains." Darkseid's eyes flared again. The Omega beams returned, snapping into place and curving toward Frieza's face. Frieza reacted instantly. He powered up. Not fully. Not the full golden blaze he had hinted at before, but enough that the pressure around him spiked, and the air seemed to shrink. His body glowed at the edges, bright and sharp. The Omega beam struck his aura and pushed. Frieza pushed back. For a second, the beams held him in place. Then Frieza screamed, not from pain, but from fury, and blasted outward. The beams were thrown off course, curving away and carving a burning line across the sky. Frieza hovered, chest rising. Darkseid hovered, unmoved. They stared at each other, both calm again, like the fight had been a conversation. Frieza's smile returned, slow. "You're not like the others." Darkseid's voice stayed low. "Neither are you." Frieza's eyes narrowed. "But you made one mistake." Darkseid said nothing. Frieza pointed down at Apocalypse. "You offered me a chain." He pointed at himself. "I do not wear chains." Then he smiled again, colder. "And you offered me a throne," Frieza said, "but you didn't kneel." Darkseid's eyes narrowed, and the air grew heavier. Frieza laughed once. "So here's my answer." He lifted one hand and fired a single blast, not at Darkseid, at the space beside him. The blast tore open a violent rip, forcing the mother box energy he carried to respond. A boom tube snapped open in midair. Desaad's voice shouted from below, furious, "Stop him!" Darkseid's Omega beams shot again, trying to curve into the portal. Frieza slipped through first. The beams chased. Frieza turned inside the portal and fired a counterblast. The beams collided with the portal edge and detonated in a flash of red and purple. The boom tube shuddered, then snapped shut. Darkseid hovered alone over Apocalypse, eyes narrowed. Desaad's voice trembled with anger as he approached. "My lord, he escaped." Darkseid's voice was calm. "He did not escape." Desaad blinked. "He..." Darkseid's eyes hardened. He chose. Darkseid looked out into the red sky as if he could see through realities. He will build, Darkseid said. He will conquer. He will grow bored. He turned slightly, and Desod flinched under the attention. And then, Darkseid said, he will return. Frieza emerged into cold quiet again. Not Earth, not apocalypse. A dead moon orbiting a gas giant far from patrol lines. His aura faded back down, smooth and controlled. He stood on gray dust, staring at the stars. His breathing was steady. His smile was not. That had been satisfying. A real king. A real weight. A real fight. Not a clean win. Not a clean loss. Something better. A challenge that could last. Behind him, the smuggler and the lieutenant stumbled out of the secondary portal, coughing as the pressure shift hit them. The smuggler looked terrified. Whoa, what was that place? Frieza didn't answer. He raised 2 fingers and pointed at the smuggler. The smuggler froze. Frieza's voice was soft. You saw something you should not have seen. The smuggler's eyes filled with panic. Please, please, I won't tell. Frieza's fingers lowered. The smuggler gasped as if the air returned to him. Frieza looked at him coldly. You will live, he said, because fear spreads stories. Stories spread my name. The smuggler nodded fast, tears floating from his eyes in little spheres. Frieza turned to the lieutenant. Mark Apocalypse on the map. The lieutenant swallowed. Yes, Lord Frieza. Frieza's tail swayed. Mark Brainiac, too. Mark the Lantern Corps. Mark Earth. He looked at the stars again. This universe has too many watchers, Frieza said. The lieutenant hesitated. Is that a problem? Frieza smiled. No. He turned, eyes gleaming. It's an audience, Frieza said. He stepped forward, boots leaving shallow prints in dust. Begin phase 2, he said calmly. I want a fleet. I want soldiers who can survive space. I want door access in 3 sectors by the end of the week. The lieutenant's voice shook. Yes, sir? Frieza paused. He remembered Darkseid's voice. Join me. Frieza's smile sharpened. No one owns me, he whispered. He lifted a hand and formed a small purple sphere, dense, quiet, controlled. He tossed it into the sky. It flew outward and stopped, hanging in space like a marker. A beacon. Not for heroes, for rivals. Come, Frieza said softly. Try to cage me again. Brainiac saw the beacon. Of course he did. His ship drifted in deep space, systems humming, drones moving like ants. He held the stolen shard from ARGUS inside a containment field, scanning it, learning from it, rebuilding. He watched Frieza's energy signature stabilize. He did not feel fear. He felt confirmation. His voice was smooth, machine calm. Specimen is interacting with New God's technology. A drone voice replied. Probability of capture improved with Omega-based countermeasures. Brainiac's eyes, cold lights, shifted toward Earth's map. Earth remains secondary, Brainiac said, but Earth contains variables that increase success. He adjusted a model of Superman's pattern, Batman's pattern, lantern response timing, flash evacuation arcs. Prepare lure, Brainiac said. Lure type, the drone asked. Brainiac's voice stayed flat. Hope. On Earth, Superman stood on a rooftop in Metropolis again. Not because he liked rooftops, because it was where the city's heartbeat felt loudest. Below him, people moved through streets that had been repaired fast. Crews had cleaned glass and patched walls. New windows glittered in the sun. A little girl walked with her mother and kept glancing up at the sky. Every time, a cloud shifted. She flinched. Superman's chest tightened. He heard boots behind him. Batman landed on the roof with a soft thud, kept settling. Superman didn't turn this time. He's not coming back today. Batman's voice was quiet. You sound like you're trying to convince yourself. Superman's jaw tightened. I'm trying to convince the city. Batman stepped closer and placed a small device on the roof. What's that? Superman asked. A door sensor, Batman said. Boom. Tube frequency monitor, mother box, residue detector, anything that looks like a tear in the sky. Superman stared at it. How many did you place? Batman's answer was simple. Enough. Superman exhaled slowly. The world is turning into a net. Batman's voice stayed calm. The world was always a net. People just didn't see the strands. Superman turned to face him. And what happens when people pull those strands too tight? Batman's eyes narrowed slightly. Then it snaps. Superman's voice went low. That's what Frieza wants. Fear, control, panic. Batman nodded once. And that's what Brainiac exploits. Superman's eyes sharpened. You think Brainiac will come back soon? Batman's voice was immediate. Yes. Superman looked down at the city. Then we hold the line. Batman's gaze stayed on the sky. We also make choices. Superman frowned. What choices? Batman didn't answer right away. Then he said, Waller wants a joint protocol. Lantern Corps wants orbit jurisdiction. The Senate wants hearings. Lex wants contracts. Everyone wants to use fear. Superman's jaw tightened. And what do you want? Batman's voice was quiet. I want you alive. And I want this city not to become a lesson. Superman stared at him for a long second. Then, softer. That's what I want too. A calm light blinked in Batman's cowl. Cyborg's voice came through. Guys, we've got a new energy beacon in deep space. It's him. Superman's posture changed instantly. Frieza. Cyborg's voice was tense. Yeah, and it looks like he wants to be found. Batman's eyes narrowed. That's not a mistake. Superman's fists clenched. If we go after him, we risk leaving Earth open. Batman's voice was flat. If we don't, he builds. Superman looked down at the city again. The little girl was still glancing up. He felt his choice settle like steel inside him. We don't chase, Superman said. Batman turned slightly. Explain. Superman's eyes stayed on Metropolis. Frieza wants us to follow. He wants us to panic. He wants us to move like he controls the board. Batman's mouth tightened. So we wait. Superman nodded once. We guard. We prepare. We keep hope standing. Batman stared at him, measuring. Then he nodded too. Fine. Superman looked at him, surprised. That easy? Batman's voice was quiet. It's not easy. He looked out at the sky, and for a moment, he sounded almost tired. It's just the best move we have, Batman said. Superman's voice softened. He's out there building an empire. Batman's voice stayed calm. Then we build something too. Superman looked down at the streets. What? Batman's answer was simple. Trust. Superman nodded slowly. He didn't know if trust would stop Frieza, but he knew fear would help him. And that was enough to choose. Far away, Frieza watched his beacon pulse in the dark. No heroes came. No Lantern Squad arrived to lecture him. No Brainiac drone tried to jar him. Nothing. For a moment, Frieza felt something he hated. Not fear. Boredom. Then he smiled. They're learning, he murmured. He turned back toward his fortress station. His lieutenant waited with a report. We've recruited a small fleet, Lord Frieza. Smugglers, mercenaries, a few ex-military outcasts from different worlds. Frieza nodded. And the doors? The lieutenant hesitated. We have access to 2 boom tube nodes. Limited stability, but improving. Frieza's eyes gleamed. Good. He walked past rows of soldiers he did not care about as individuals. He cared about function. He stopped before a star map projected in the air. Earth glowed in the middle. Apocalypse pulsed like a scar. A set of green patrol lines formed a web nearby. Frieza stared at it all. He could feel the universe watching him now. The Lantern Corps. The League. The gods. Good. He placed one finger on the map and traced a slow line away from Earth. Not yet, he whispered. Then he tapped a sector of weak defenses, places without Superman, without watchtowers, without symbols. Here, Frieza said. His lieutenant nodded quickly. We strike there? Frieza's smile returned, calm and sharp. We acquire, quietly, efficiently. The lieutenant swallowed. And Earth? Frieza's eyes slid back to the blue dot. Earth is a stage, Frieza said softly. I will return when it bores me less. He looked away. Then, almost like an afterthought, he added, Also, prepare an invitation. The lieutenant blinked. An invitation, sir? Frieza's smile widened. Yes, Frieza said. If this universe loves paperwork so much. He lifted a hand and formed a sheet of glowing purple energy in the air, shaping it into something like a document. A mock contract. He wrote one line across it in neat, sharp strokes. To the Justice League, apply to survive. He laughed quietly. Then he flicked his finger. The glowing document folded into a small energy capsule and shot off into space, aimed toward Earth's orbit like a message in a bottle. Not an attack, a taunt, a promise. The message reached the watchtower 2 days later. Batman watched it play in silence. A small energy capsule hovered in containment fields, harmless but insulting. The text glowed bright and crisp. Flash read it, aloud, because he couldn't help himself. Apply to survive. Oh my God, he's a supervillain HR department. Superman's mouth tightened. He wants to get under our skin. Batman's eyes stayed flat. He wants to be the center. Wonder Woman crossed her arms. Then we refuse. Hal glanced at the capsule. The Corps wants to classify it as a declaration. John's jaw tightened, which means they'll escalate presence. Superman exhaled slowly, and Frieza will smile. Batman reached into the containment field with a tool and pulled out the capsule. He stared at it, then crushed it in a device that broke its energy structure without letting it explode. The glow died. Batman's voice was quiet. We don't respond to taunts. Flash blinked. Did you just not respond to a taunt? Are you feeling okay? Batman didn't look at him. We respond with systems. Superman nodded once. We keep the planet steady. Batman's eyes lifted to the main screen, where Earth turned slowly. And we prepare, Batman said. Not because he believed fear would win, because he knew what was coming when monsters got bored. Later, on a quiet street in Metropolis, the same little girl walked again with her mother. This time, she had a small paper cape pinned to her shirt. Superman landed softly at the end of the block, careful not to startle anyone. He knelt to help a man lift a fallen sign, then looked up and saw the girl staring at him. Her mother pulled her closer, nervous. Superman smiled gently. Hi. The girl pointed at the sky. Is the hole coming back? Superman's chest tightened. He kept his voice simple. I don't know when, he said, but if it does, I'll be there. The girl frowned. What if it's bigger? Superman nodded. Then we'll be bigger too. The girl blinked. You'll get bigger? Superman smiled a little more. Not like that. He tapped his chest lightly. Bigger like braver. Smarter. Together. The girl thought hard about that, then nodded as if it made sense. She held out a folded piece of paper. Her mother looked embarrassed. She made something. Superman took it carefully. It was a drawing. A stick figure Superman. A stick figure Batman. A stick figure Flash. A stick figure Wonder Woman. And above them, a small white and purple figure with a tail, drawn like a floating angry cloud. The girl had written one word in messy letters. No. Superman stared at it for a long second. Then he smiled, and this time it was real. "That's perfect," he said. He handed it back gently. "Keep it. It's a good reminder." The girl looked up at him. A reminder of what? Superman stood. He looked up at the clear blue sky. "A reminder," he said softly, "that this is still our home." He lifted off, leaving only a soft gust behind. And in the distance, life kept moving. Not because the danger was gone, because the choice to keep living was still stronger than fear. Far away, inside his shadowed fortress, Frieza stood alone before his star map. The fleet he had gathered drifted nearby like small teeth around a predator. He watched planets rotate, patrol lines shift, doors open and close. He did not feel tired. He felt entertained. His lieutenant approached carefully, holding a stack of physical papers, real papers, stolen from some world where bureaucracy was a religion. "Lord Frieza," the lieutenant said, voice shaking. "The new recruits, they insisted on registration documents." Frieza stared at the papers like they were dirty. He took one between two fingers. It had boxes, lines, signatures. He read the first line. Name. Frieza's eye twitched. He looked at his lieutenant. His voice was calm but deadly. "Why?" The lieutenant swallowed. "They said, it helps with organization." Frieza's tail swayed slowly. He turned back to the star map, still holding the paper. Then he smiled. Not because he liked the paper, because he understood something about this universe. It didn't just fight with fists. It fought with systems, with rules, with fear turned into law, with hope turned into symbols. Frieza crumpled the paper into a tight ball. Then, instead of erasing it, he placed it on the edge of his console like a trophy. A reminder, not of weakness, of annoyance. He looked at Earth's glowing dot again. "I will break their symbols," Frieza whispered. Then he paused, and his smile shifted, becoming thoughtful. "Or," he said softly, "I will make them kneel without breaking them." Because that would be better. That would be a true conquest. Frieza turned away from the map and walked into the shadow of his growing empire. Behind him, the universe kept turning, watching, waiting, and changing, because power had arrived. But choices were what would decide what came next.